What are the 7 principles of the PRINCE2 7th edition and how they form the key building blocks for the PRINCE2 way of project management? Let's learn that in this video today. Hello, I'm Ray and I'm a PRINCE2 7th edition Foundation and a practitioner certified project manager with over 15 years of experience in project management. Currently, I work as a program manager in the UK and I'm an authorized training provider or an ATO for Axelos and PeopleCert, who are the accreditation organizations for the PRINCE2 certification. So PRINCE2, which essentially means projects in controlled environment, is a complete framework for managing projects across various industries and disciplines. The framework is in its 7th edition now, and you should think of the PRINCE2 7th edition as a roadmap guiding you from the very start of a project all the way to its successful delivery, maintaining a constant focus on the outcomes and the benefits a project will generate upon completion. Now, in the PRINCE2 way of project management, there are 7 principles, 7 practices, and the 7 processes which really form the cornerstone of the framework. And in this video, we will learn about the 7 principles of the PRINCE2 7th edition. Now in PRINCE2, the 7 principles are: ensure continued business justification, learn from experience, defined roles, responsibilities and relationships, manage by stages, manage by exception, focus on products, and finally, tailor to suit the project. Let's do a bit of a deep dive in each one of them. So, Principle 1, ensure continued business justification. Now, what do we exactly mean by that? Well, as the name suggests, it means that a project must have a justifiable rationale that remains valid throughout its entire life cycle. The business case is the project artifact that is used to document the reasons for the project, the expected benefits, and the associated risks around the project delivery. The project board regularly reviews this document, especially at stage boundaries, to ensure that the project product remains desirable, viable, and achievable. And this is extremely crucial because if the business justification no longer exists for a project, the project should be stopped in a controlled manner. Not abruptly, but in a controlled manner. Yes, PRINCE2 advocates that no project should continue just for the sake of it, okay? And every project should have a continued business justification from its inception to delivery. Next, Principle 2, learn from experience. Well, as the name suggests, this principle recommends that project teams should proactively seek and document lessons learned from previous projects as the current project progresses. This principle encourages all the project participants to identify, to share, and to use the knowledge for both the successes and the failures to improve the current and the future project outcomes. A lessons log is maintained and updated throughout the project's life cycle. Next, Principle 3, defined roles, responsibilities, and relationships. Now, this essentially means that a clear and agreed upon structure for the project team must be in place, defining the roles, the responsibilities for every project participant. This ensures efficient communication and governance with the 3 primary stakeholders of a project, which is the business, the user, and the supplier, all of them being represented properly within the project management team. So clarity in leadership and responsibilities helps to reduce confusion, increases collaboration, and minimizes the risk of project failure due to lack of accountability, right? So that's the crux of having defined roles, responsibilities, and relationships within a PRINCE2 project. Now, before we move on, if you are finding this video helpful, please subscribe to this channel. Also, if you are willing to get certified in PRINCE2 and would like to learn more about it from videos like these ones, make sure you keep your bell notifications on for YouTube as well. Next, Principle 4, manage by stages. Now this concept might be a bit tricky to understand, okay? So listen carefully. A PRINCE2 project should be planned, monitored and controlled on a stage by stage basis, okay? Rather than as one long mammoth uncontrolled effort to manage the project in its entirety. Each management stage is a segment with a clear start and end, featuring a key decision point, which is called a stage boundary, where the project board assesses the project's viability and the performance before authorizing the plan for the next stage of the project. So this provides better control and flexibility to adapt to changing circumstances. Moving on, Principle 5, manage by exception. So this one is also quite nuanced, okay? So what manage by exception essentially means is this: the project board, which is the executive, the senior user and the senior supplier, they delegate the day-to-day authority of project management to the project manager within agreed level of tolerances, okay? And these tolerances could be tolerance for time, cost, quality, scope, benefits, risk and sustainability. And the job of the project manager is to manage the stage of the project within these agreed limits as set by the project board. Now, if a deviation is forecasted to happen to exceed these tolerances, that is an exception, okay? And it is immediately escalated to the next management level, which is the project board for the project manager, for a decision on how to proceed, and thus optimizing the involvement of senior manager for cases or matters which only require an exception. Next, Principle 6, focus on products. And this should be quite simple to understand, okay? A PRINCE2 project focuses on precise definition and delivery of products, which are essentially the project's outputs. And those project products should meet an agreed upon quality criteria. Now, this product-centric approach of PRINCE2 ensures a shared understanding of what the project will deliver, reducing the risk of scope creep and any kind of acceptance disputes at a later stage. So proper planning during the early stages of a PRINCE2 project focuses on creating detailed product descriptions which define each product's purpose, composition, quality standards, and acceptance methods. Finally, Principle 7, tailor to suit the project. Now, as the name suggests, the PRINCE2 method is highly versatile and it must be appropriately adapted and tailored to the specific context, size, complexity, importance, risk, and the environment in which the project will operate. The project manager is responsible for tailoring the method, ensuring that the right level of planning and control is applied, and documenting the tailoring aspects of a project in the project initiation documentation, which is often also called the PID. Now, whilst tailoring, the core principles of PRINCE2 must always be adhered to, okay? However, the specific application of the practices and the processes of PRINCE2 are flexible. Now, I hope this video was helpful for you to have an overarching understanding of the principles of PRINCE2 7th edition. Now, if you are willing to get PRINCE2 certified, you can reach out to me via the details as mentioned on the screen. I am an authorized training provider for PRINCE2 and I can share with you further details about my training material and services in case if you are interested. So if you have liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and I'll see you again in the next one.